Welcome back, Monster Traders. We have another trade setting up. It is Monday, May 6th, 2019, and we have a trade setting up in South Korea stocks. The KOSPI is their index, and the ETF we're going to look at is KORU, K-O-R-U. And so what we're always looking for is we're looking for that counterintuitive setup. And so I believe that we have it. But before we look at that, let's take a look at the longer term stock price movement. We're going to look at the weekly. This is the weekly going back a couple years. You can see on KORU, the price was in the low 70s. Now we're at 25 and change. So that's a big decline. And in the index, we're down about 25% over the last year and a half. So that's a nice decline. It's been a long decline. And what gives us our setup is that last Thursday, April 25th, which is somewhere right around here, the news came out that South Korea's GDP was actually worse than in the financial crisis 2008. So that begs the question, all right, so if things are worse than in one of the worst financial meltdowns in history, and the stock or the ETF cannot go any lower, that's very interesting to me. Now, the reason why it kind of gapped down a little bit today was that the trade news out of China was not great. The news headlines were basically such that they might fall apart with China, which of course would affect South Korea as well. So the good news is that today, even though the stock's a little bit lower, it's finishing stronger, and we're still not going down and approaching the lows that were set earlier in the year. So it seems like it's still a good counterintuitive setup and probably a very ideal place for entry right here around $25. So that's the buy today. That's the rationale. We're looking for, again, the counterintuitive setup. I do recommend buying shares of KORU, K-O-R-U. And so for the upside, I would have to say we are looking at, I'd be looking at a minimum. I mean, this could be a longer term hold at a minimum in the low 30s, let's say around 34, 35-ish. And I might look to get out around over 40. That's kind of the range. But if it went up around 34, 35-ish, I would definitely put in a break-even stop. And we're probably going to risk, let's say, we're going to put our initial stop, I would say, below 22. So we're risking 3 points to, let's say, score about 8 or 9 points minimum. And if you go for 40, obviously you're going for about 16 points, 15 points, something like that. You could get out on a spike. But it's the longer term hold. We're looking at probably months. So you'd have to be patient with this one, but I think the percentage return would be monstrous. All right, good luck. We'll revisit this one a little bit later. Thanks. Take care.